Oh, hello. You just caught me doing an Idaho. So, how is everyone? I hope you're all well on this fantastic Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. Wednesday morning. Are people losing their minds? On one hand, we've got some content creators saying that, did you know human tissue was found? Found human tissue. Are you fucking mental? Look, I get it. Do you know what I mean? Content creators need to create content. They need to create content to get paid, because if they don't get paid, they don't have no money. If they don't have any money, they will become destitute. They will become, I don't know, into narcotics, and they will end up looking like a character from, one of those films that are like A Nightmare Before Christmas. You'll be starring alongside the big hero that is Johnny Depp. But anyway, I digress. I'm trying to make jest of a very serious situation. That is that the continuing tirade of getting hold of a guy who was supposedly innocent until proven guilty and just trying to paint out the absolute worst and demonic picture of him before he's had his chance to defend himself at all is just becoming a little bit old now. And when you see certain people doing it who they're kind of the way they push themselves across, the perception they try and give of themselves is of that of someone who you would least expect that behaviour to come from. But look, dumbass, what was happening there was it was an application for search warrant to search a storage unit, and the excuse that they used was that there could have potentially been stuff inside that unit. So they wanted to get a fucking search warrant raised for it. Not that they actually found anything. The only thing they found in there was fucking cobwebs. Get a grip. Anyway, ran over. Well, for now, anyway. We've also got mainstream media pushing out that Koberger had apparently bragged, that's right, bragged about cutting up fish. When in reality, what we know actually happened was that he was fired from that job relatively quickly because his ability to handle said cutting implements wasn't great. And I would say that that's even more fucking relevant, don't you? Not the fact that he bragged about cutting fish, the fact that in reality he couldn't fucking do it. I have a feeling that this video is going to be a little bit ranty as we go through, so I do apologise. No, I don't apologise, because I feel that it's warranted. I feel that it's warranted, so I'm upholding my right to rant. He embellished things. He spoke about things that he perhaps didn't do, or he didn't do for as long as he did in a CV. Holy shit, did he really? Did he really write a CV that painted him in a slightly better light than what perhaps reality would have done in order to try and get a job? Is that what he did? Oh my God, lock him up. He's clearly the man. He's clearly the man who did this, and look, I was wrong all along. You don't need the benefit of the doubt. He lied on a CV. He's a fucking monster. I would say that 99% of CVs are full of shit. That fake it until you make it, that phrase is something that is used far and wide. I hate to tell you. But anyway, so we get to the point. So we get to the point of this video. So if you're clocking timelines, someone put in the comment, when does this video actually start? Unless you like rants and it starts at the beginning. So look, something has always bugged me with the Idaho 4 case. And I was talking to a subscriber yesterday, someone in comments, and they say, look, with regards to the timeline itself, the time when these happened, that seems to be the problem. It seems to be that the crime is trying to be fixed around Brian, rather than Brian being fixed into the crime. I don't know. Fixed into the crime, is that along the same lines as, I don't know, fixed up? sent down the river for something he didn't do. I don't know. I'm not saying that is what's happened to Brian. What I'm saying is that this time frame, they've tried to tie it in with the white Hyundai Elantra caught on camera, and that seems to be the foundation of when these crimes happened. That seems to be the case. Now, what I'm putting to you is, how do we know when these victims had actually been murdered? How do we know? What do we actually know? So we know that there was a white car, possibly a Hyundai Elantra. That is still up for debate, because I still can't get my head around how anybody can look at that car that's shown in that footage and then look at Brian Kohberger's car and contemplate that they're the same car, because they don't fucking look like the same car. I could be wrong, but they don't look like the same car in that image. But anyway, I digress yet again. So look, they then think that this car goes in this area at this time, but then leaves at this time. So it comes in, it lands, if you like, and is parking up seemingly around 4:02, 4:03. So what is it by the time he enters the house? 4:05, 4:06. And he's back in the car and out and driving away around 20 past 4 a.m. And we know that, was it about 12 minutes past, that seemingly there was social media usage on, I believe it was Xana's phone. Without going back into the documentation, that's what I believe was, around 12 minutes past 4. So the window of opportunity there for doing the crime is very, very slim, and that leads us to believe that this is a problematic crime when trying to contemplate whether Brian Kohberger had done it on his own. Some people have considered, look, could this guy, this Brian Kohberger, who we see walk through there, done all of this in such a narrow time frame and got out of the house and not taken any evidence out of the house with him? Because it would have been quite a horrendous battle, which we have been given that nod by the likes of Steve Gonsalves. So look, I put it to you yet again that from what we hear, there is nothing that flat out proves that the murders happened at that time. In fact, there is evidence that goes completely against that. The main evidence being Bethany Funk obviously, or seemingly, was asleep all the way through, didn't hear a thing. Even though she got legal representation very early on, ultimately she didn't hear anything. We have had another nod to the fact that she could have exculpatory evidence, which, in my heart of hearts, I'm wondering whether the exculpatory evidence that she holds is that she knew Brian Kohberger had frequented this property, or he'd been there before, and Brian Kohberger is trying to get her to admit that he'd been to the house before, he was known to them, whatever. Could be wrong, but I just don't understand what the other exculpatory evidence would be. Did she see someone else? And again, that could be important, but anyway, let me get on with it. So she didn't hear anything. But then you've got Dylan Mortensen. Dylan Mortensen claims that she heard what she thought was the dog being played with. And someone saying, "Don't worry, I'm here to help you." Well, what if she wasn't hearing someone saying, "Don't worry, I'm here to help you," or someone's here? What if she was hearing a fucking television? What if she was hearing them watching something on social media? And the noises that she heard was them playing with the dog. At the moment, we've got nothing else that disputes that, unless the audio that is out and about, floating around beneath the other 3 or 4 variations of it, is indeed real. Like I say, it's hard to say what out of all this actually gives us the evidence that the attacks themselves happened at this time, unless you consider that someone within that house, one of the surviving roommates, knew that it had happened. And now we've got this battle of law enforcement knows that it happened because they've been told by the housemates that it happened, but this 8-hour time delay puts it in the realms of them breaking the law. Now, law enforcement doesn't want to bring that forward because people will challenge, well, hold on, at the end of the day, that was breaking the law. The families could even turn around and say, well, hold on a second, how do we know that one of those victims couldn't have been saved if it wasn't for that delay? We hear the terms bled out. Well, bled out, to me, in my stupid brain, is that there was time. There was a period of time with which perhaps that bleeding could have been stemmed and they could have survived. But look, I'm not saying that that's the case. I'm just saying that there would be a reason that law enforcement may wish to hide the 8-hour time delay, and they could perhaps offer something up to said survivors as an incentive for that to disappear, to vanish. Because it is an offence not to report. So what would someone who's young and worried about a situation and how it could go, what would they be willing to do if some things were swept under the carpet? Because, like I say, if you look bare bones of it, I can't see anything that 100% proves that the murders happened at the time they did. Tell me I'm wrong. Please. Because that is the problem. In my mind, the time frame itself, trying to tie in when the murders happened to the white Hyundai in the camera, that seems to be where a problem is, because it raises the problem of the 8-hour time delay, it raises the problem of whether Brian Coburn could have done it in this time, so on and so forth. Could be wrong. Could be right. Let me know down below, and I'll catch you all on the next one.